Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sports Talk with Stock here, and today in this video, I'm doing the Denver Broncos 2020-21 deep dive. I'm going to start off with the state of the team, then I'm going to transition into some position battles. I'm going to talk a little bit on Drew Lock, and if you want to find more about him, where you can look for that. I'm going to go to what the team needs to do to win. I'm going to talk a little bit about their offseason, their wins projections from me, many leftovers after that, and then I'll go into their potential stars, the team MVPs, the team stats, and the team summary. So let's just start off with the state of the team. I think the Denver Broncos are going to be one of the better teams in the NFL. They do have a really hard division with Kansas City. They have to play Kansas City twice. I think Los Angeles Chargers won't be that hard, but they could be hard at any point in the season, I feel like, if Justin Herbert decides to have a really good rookie season. And then also you have the Las Vegas Raiders, which I think is pretty much a wild card for the entire NFL right now. But I do believe that they can place second in their division behind the Chiefs, of course. They got amazing additions from this offseason. They had a really good draft, and I think that Drew Lock can make major improvements this year that lead them back to the playoffs. This is the second year of Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio was the defensive coordinator for the Bears when they had that really good season on defense a couple years ago, and he went last year to the Broncos to be their head coach. He was a really good defensive coordinator. I think last year Denver's defense did good, but a couple players did not do as good as they should have, and their defense didn't do as good as they should have. But I think this year, it's the second year, the schemes had time to improve, and everybody's gotten time to play the scheme. I think that the second year, the defense is going to be a lot better than it was the first year. Let's get into some position battles that I think you should keep your eyes on. For Drew Lock, I think he's going to be the quarterback. There's going to be no battle there. Running back, I have Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. They should be in a constant battle throughout the season for who should be number one. Last year, Gordon held out for the first 4 games for a contract. When he came back for the rest of the 12 games, he averaged just under 4 yards per carry. He had 9 total touchdowns and over 900 scrimmage yards. There was only one game where he hit over the century mark with rushing the ball, but there were a couple games where he made it over the century mark with scrimmage yards. And at the end of the year, he ended up with 900 scrimmage yards over 12 games. Philip Lindsay, on the other hand, had over 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns last season in 16 games. He averaged 4.5 yards per carry, and he is my personal favorite to win in this battle. I think Philip Lindsay, he's a tough runner. He doesn't go down on first contact, and he's a little bit more explosive in my eyes. Melvin Gordon is still really good. I feel like Philip Lindsay will have a better season overall. For wide receiver, Courtland Sutton became one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but don't let that stop Jerry Jeudy from coming out of the gates as a favorite target for Drew Lock. I think he can really be explosive. He has amazing route running. He's good hands, and I think he can really compete with Courtland Sutton, even though I think Courtland Sutton would still obviously beat him out because he has more experience, and he has more experience with Lock too. And then for KJ Hamler, I believe he'll have no problem being the number 3 guys, and you'll have Deshaun Hamilton at number 4. Tight end, Noah Fant is their guy. He's such an amazing athlete. He's got good hands and he's fast, and he really started to improve as the year went on. For the O-line, if everybody at their position right now on the offensive line plays at their potential, they can be one of the best in the league. They have Jawan James, who I think can be one of the best tackles in the league. Graham Glasgow, who they signed from the Lions. I think those are 2 big key additions that they didn't have all of last year. For defensive line, I have Harris and Purcell. If they can keep a good inside rotation, then there's not going to have to really be a battle there. And then the linebacker, this is one of the weaker positions that I feel for the team, but I still think it's pretty cut and dry for Todd Davis and Alexander Johnson at the 2 inside linebacker positions. For edge rusher, Jarrell Casey should be in battle with Bradley Chubb. I think even if Bradley Chubb beats Jarrell Casey out on the edge, I think Jarrell Casey is still going to be able to play on the inside with the other guys on the interior offensive line. But I think Jarrell Casey and Bradley Chubb are going to have more of a rotation going. And then Von Miller is going to be on the other side. For cornerback, the loss of Chris Harris Jr. is a pretty big loss for the Broncos. They tried to fill his hole with A.J. Boye. This is, in my opinion, the weakest part of the team. I don't really have an idea for who's going to win here. I think this is more of a wild card. So it's really anybody's game at this position. For safety, Justin Simmons is one of the best players at his position in the league. He and Kareem Jackson did really good last year in the backfield, and I think there's really no question who's the starter there. Kicker is Brandon McManus. Punter is Martin. And that's pretty much all for the position battles. Drew Lock. Now I'm going to go into Drew Lock. If you want a great breakdown of Drew Lock, then you should go over to the channel Strong Opinion Sports. He did an amazing video of the breakdown of his rookie season and his 5 games he played it. Just go check it out. All right, he does amazing film analysis and other great videos. Now I'm going to go on what the team needs to do to win. If the team wants to win this year, then they need Drew Lock to step it up and show that he is the face of the franchise for the Denver Broncos. If the offensive line becomes what I think they can become, then there is no problem for Drew Lock to be as good as he needs to be and the running game to be as good as it needs to be. The offense just needs to keep up with other explosive offenses like the Kansas City Chiefs, which they play twice a year. I think in order to be considered a tough team to face in the AFC, they need to beat the Chiefs at least once this year. And then their defense needs to really increase the pressure from Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and Jarrell Casey. And Justin Simmons needs to command the backfield. He needs to be the star player on the defense. Him and Von Miller need to be the star players. Now I'm going to talk about a little bit of their offseason. They had an amazing offseason. They had some of the best additions in the NFL. They got Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Graham Glasgow, Jarrell Casey, and A.J. Boye. And that's just a couple of the players that they got. All of these players, though, can have season-impacting performances on what they do. Melvin Gordon, if he keeps Phillip Lindsay fresh and he keeps going strong throughout the entire season, he can be one of the better players and better running backs in the NFL. Jerry Jeudy, he's a great route running, and there's a reason he was such a high pick in the NFL draft. And KJ Hamler, he's such a speedster on the outside. I think he can be great for the team. Graham Glasgow was another just piece for the offensive line from the Lions that helps protect Drew Lock, and it just proves those offensive additions just prove how much the Broncos are interested in Drew Lock and how much they want to build around Drew Lock. And that shows commitment to Drew Lock. Then on the defense, you have Jarrell Casey, who they got for a 7th-round pick from the Tennessee Titans. And other than DeAndre Hopkins, I think that might have been the steal of the offseason. And A.J. Boye they got from the Jaguars, who fills the hole of Chris Harris Jr., hopefully. Now I'm going to go into my win projections for them. Their lowest record, I believe, can be 5-11. Their highest, 12-4, and actual 10-6. Their lowest is if injuries happen and Drew Lock is inconsistent and their offensive line is inconsistent. Their highest is 12-4. That's if their offensive line is amazing. Drew Lock has a spectacular year, and Their defense is just one of the best. Their 2015 form, and they went to Super Bowl 50. And their actual record, I think this can happen if their offensive line is decent to good. Drew Lock plays about average quarterback play to above average quarterback play. Their run game is consistent, and there's limited injuries on the team. Leftovers that I haven't really gotten to talk about yet is that Justin Simmons, he's one of the most underrated safeties in the entire league. He's such a good player. He just made play after play after year. And then Philip Lindsay, he's been really good in both of his seasons. I just combined the words good in both to golf. He's been really good for both of their seasons, the 2 seasons that he's played for the Broncos. Last year, he made his first season, he made the Pro Bowl. Then last year, I don't believe he did. But he can be a really good player. I think he can be their premier running back, and he can have an outstanding year for the Broncos. Von Miller kind of had a letdown season last year. I mean, not a letdown season, but it was below his standards. I think he can come back with more sacks, more forced fumbles than he did last year with the return of Bradley Chubb and the addition with Jarrell Casey. Now I'm going to go get into potential stars. For this first one, I have a mix because either or, I'm not sure which one can be the starter yet. It's Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon. I've talked a lot about Philip Lindsay. I've talked a little bit about Melvin Gordon. But both have proven themselves as good starters. But one of them is probably just going to step away from the other this year. There's going to be rotation between them, but I believe that one of them is going to be significantly better than the other one. Now, Bradley Chubb, he showed really good potential in his rookie year. And if he didn't get injured last year, he was one of my dark horse candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he's still at this level, but he can still wreak havoc on the offensive line. AJ Boye. Last year he had a disappointing year for the Jaguars, but the Broncos hope to see his better side with and hopefully a revivement with Vic Fangio can turn him back to a 7 interception season that he had just a couple years back. Well, now I'm going to transition back into the team MVPs. For offense, I think it's going to be Drew Lock. If he plays good, then I think the Broncos make the playoffs, and I think that everybody else plays better around him if he plays good. Defense, I think it's Von Miller. It has to be Von Miller. He's been such a dominant cornerstone player for the Broncos for a long time now, and he's just such a good pass rusher. He's such a good player for the defense and such a good leader. And now for my dark horse MVP for them is Justin Simmons. Like I said, he was a very underrated player last year, and he can have an enormous impact on the defense. Now this is my team's stats predictions. For passing, I think Drew Lock will have 3,200 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Rushing, I have Philip Lindsay having 1,000 rushing yards and Melvin Gordon having 6 rushing touchdowns. For tackles, I have Todd Davis leading the team with 115 tackles. Tackles for loss, I have Von Miller getting 14. Sacks, I have Von Miller getting 12. And interceptions, I have Boye and Justin Simmons each getting 3 interceptions. For the last part of the video, I have the team summary. The Denver Broncos are in a really good situation to win now. Locke looks to improve, and their offense has been completely revamped and looks ready to go to make splashes out of the gate. Their defense should be spectacular with new players and returning players in a second-year Vic Fangio's defense. Their biggest problem this season is having to play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs twice. Otherwise, the Broncos should enjoy a playoff season for the first time since Super Bowl 50. Anyways, that's going to wrap up my video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below the next team you want me to do. And I hope you guys all have a great day. See you next time.